The Friday Sports Show on Radio Borders.
Two guests on the show tonight. Eugene Murname, the Kelso coach. We'll come to him in 10 minutes or so. But first of all, we'll come to Melrose Player coach John Dalziel. Obviously, we had the Premier One sides, the other sides on Gallat and Hoyk last weekend. We'd had yourself on, but you were on your way up to Aberdeen, I think, on Friday. It turned out well, though.
It was, yeah. And, we decided to go up last Friday just to try and break up that long journey. So it worked out quite well. It was just we stayed at the top end of Dundee and then got a short journey on the Saturday morning.
I mean, does it make a massive difference rather than having to get up out your bed early in the morning and, getting off the bus long before a kick-off up there?
I think it does, yeah. I mean, certainly even the bus journey up to the top side of Dundee on the Friday night was quite taxing on the guys, and they were pretty tired when they got there. So I think to try and do all that and then ask for a kind of full performance out, everybody would be asking a bit much. So took that decision, and it seemed to be the right. We're certainly fresh, although the performance wasn't brilliant. It was nothing to do with the journey. It was just probably a wee bit things that we need to work on this week as well.
Early season stuff, yeah. I mean, Aberdeen Grammar, one of the promoted sides, but seemed to put up a fair fight, as you would expect, in their first game at home. Yeah,
and I think obviously their first venture back into Premier One for a few years, opening their new club, and it was quite a big day for them up there. And certainly they've recruited very well over the summer, and they caused us a few problems. And although we got the bonus point win, that's what we would have asked for at the day. We're, as usual, just self-critical a wee bit. The performance wasn't there, but we did enough, and I think a lot of teams will go up there and struggle this year, so it's good to have that kind of marked off the calendar. For now anyway.
Aye. So a good start to the defence of your title. I mean, they always say it's harder to retain a title than it is to win it in the first place. I think there'll be truth in that. Everybody looking to knock you off your perch this year.
Definitely, yeah, and it's the same every year. I've seen that with Curry and Ayr in the last few years, and we've set our kind of stall out that we want to be different. We don't want to be a one-season wonder. We feel that we were still building towards the end of last year, and we want to build again, and still nowhere near where we want to get to. So it's about that. It's about trying to be competitive this year. We know that everybody will want a shot, at the guys that have won the league. So we're fully prepared for that. It's just a week at a time, really.
I mean, obviously involved in a lot of competitions over the course of the season. Do you set specific goals at the start of the season, or is it just a case, the assumption that you want to win everything?
That's it, we've got to go into everything. I think we commit to everything and we want to win everything. It's a long taxing season. I think all the games available, bar the quarter-final, semi-final and finally the British and Irish Cup. I think we played in every fixture, getting to the cup final, winning the league, playing all your league games, all the Border Sevens, the Border League games, we played all of them right to the final of that as well. So it was really taxing on the guys, a lot of effort, and it strived on, and we couldn't ask any more for commitment, and it's test is now, can we do it again, and certainly we'll be going for everything.
Now you retained, I think, the majority of your squad, but you've certainly lost one or two key players.
Yeah, definitely. Scott White, captain, being the main one, but we were lucky enough, obviously, an ex-player, Andrew Skeen, decided to come back to Melrose this year, and he matches Scott White with that kind of big main game mentality and the actual quality of player. Different kind of player, certainly far more attacking, and I think that'll suit the way we play as well, and he's been fitted in perfectly and was kind of man of the match for us last week up at Aberdeen.
You'd be playing against another former player at Aberdeen, were you?
Yeah, Callum Anderson, is a big miss as well, but obviously working up there, we looked at every kind of scenario trying to get him back, even if he trained with a local club up there and was available to us on the Saturday. But looking at it sensibly, I think the decision was he's up there as a school teacher, wanted to fit into the community, and he would never have had a home game. He would have been for a Melrose home game for us down here, he'd have had a overnight stay every weekend, so it was going to be big, and I think he needs to go up there, concentrate on the job, and that was a decision in the end.
Fair enough. I mean, going back to Scott White, a lot of your game centred around him. Have you had to change the way that you play the game slightly, or not really?
Not at all. I mean, Andrew, as you see, you've got Andrew and you've got Bruce Dick as well coming into it, and both of them are very talented players that know the way we play, had experience of that in the past, and they fitted in brilliantly. There's nothing we need to compromise or change for these guys. In fact, there's quite a few things they can add to it as well. Scott White being the captain as well, he was a huge figure in the club all around it, and we've adapted to all of that as well, and we did have a chance of him hopefully going to be available this weekend for us. So we hope to see him at some point as well.
Other players that you've brought in, you mentioned Andrew Skeen there. I think you've got one or two others.
Yeah, we've got Chris Skeen up front prop, who's come from Kelso this year.
Borrowed from Eugene, might have liked him in his front row, yes.
Yeah, I was speaking before about it, and he's just been a revelation as well. He's got a real opportunity due to a few injuries and holidays during pre-season, and he's got to sell that starting jersey last week, and I'm yet to see him make a mistake. So he's been a great acquisition over the summer. Bruce Dick, as we said as well. Peter Eccles, who's working down here this year. He was formerly of Heriots, who turned up the doorstep. And he's a real surprise to be turned up and wanted to give it a shot down here while working in St Boswell. So he's been great. He's given us a bit of an edge in that pack, and kind of different type of player to what we have. Real loves the physicality side of things, and he's fitted in well, and he's obviously in the squad tomorrow as well.
I mean, what kind of numbers do you get at training at Melrose?
Well, pre-season it can vary. It's never different, but we're getting good numbers. We've got a lot of guys with niggling injuries that have not played a lot in pre-season, and last night was good to have about 50-60 guys training for the three teams. So the interest there, Tuesday night you've got your 30-40, and good quality in amongst that group as well. So we're able to run a lot of stuff together, and two strong teams with the first and seconds out tomorrow, and a good thirds team as well, which is good.
So you've let the seconds loose at the first a couple of times at training, have you?
Yeah, well, it's very mixed, because to be honest, there are a lot of guys in the second team, or in the Storm as we call it, that really could be pushing on any given day. They will be in the squad. We've got guys like Stuart Johnston, who's coming back from injury. Nick Bevan, who was kind of starting prop last year, finds himself down there after a hernia kind of problem. A lot of guys that will push and will be involved in the first team. So I think there's a good edge at training, a lot of mixed stuff that we can do, and you don't lose anything by having two kind of average teams, so everybody gets a fair shot out through the week.
Yep. I will look at tomorrow's game against Curry in a wee second. I'm just thinking of your summer as well, and the warm-up games you had. What was the focus in the summer? I'm just thinking back to speaking to Bill Noble last year, who said that he'd set everybody a challenge of putting on a stone. I think that was for your involvement in the British and Irish Cup. Are you all another stone heavier?
Yeah, no, well, I think there's a lot of it. I think it was the opposite this year. I think that right up to the sevens, where the guys that played in every tie almost in all the and plus all the cup finals and league games, there was a problem with us. There was about 6 or 7 kgs lost a man, just with the kind of endeavour they went to there. So there was a few guys that were asked to go and put some on, and there was certain guys that hadn't been involved in a lot of the sevens, kind of front 5 guys that hadn't done a lot since April, so they were asked to take a bit of stone off. So now Bill's got them all well in individual programmes, and they've all worked hard, and we've seen a big bounce in everybody's kind of development for the testing we've done.
And I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I know you're younger than me, but still enjoying your own rugby.
I am, yeah. And it's just the focus. I love my rugby. I would be kind of lost without it. So you work hard. You have to kind of adapt your training as you get a bit older to your body's demands. But it's about the Saturday for me, and as long as you can keep producing that on the Saturday, then and doing a bit through the week as well to overcome things, then I'm happy.
Right off your Sunday, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
Curry tomorrow, who will be hurting massively. You would think a shock result's got to be said. Well done to Gala, beating them up at Maleny Park, but they're going to be coming down here really not wanting to lose 2 in a row. Yeah,
I think it's as big a shock as anybody. Things like Gala have been building towards that. They're always a stuffy team to play. We've got some good quality players in with that, and George Graham and these guys would have known that they were going up realistically to compete and play in that game. So maybe shocked to guys at Curry when they've got such a good home record. But for us as well, Curry will be wanting to bounce back for that. We want to bounce back as well. We want to perform better than we did last week. Never happy with a bonus point win, but we want to get better than that as well. So I think you'll have 2 teams tomorrow that will be committed to improving on last week's performances, and they're always good games, Melrose, Curry. And even 2 weeks into the season, we know the importance of this game if we want to achieve what we've set out to do, or what we've aimed for. So 2 second game in, it's massive for us. We'll just move on to Eugene. Eugene, your first involvement on the show. So give us a wee bit of background about yourself, and you're Welsh. I'll explain in case the listeners are wondering what is that accent. Tell us a wee bit about your rugby background.
Well, Bruce, I started my career really in a local side down in South Wales in Blanavon, the town I'm from. And then I moved to a club called Pontypool, I think, which were fairly well known as a club side, in the 70s, 80s and early 90s. So, and from there then, I finished my career there. And then I went over to Ireland. Work took me to Ireland with the intention of going for 6 months, and I stayed 11 years. So, and that's where I got into my coaching, really, and I spent a fair bit of time coaching there. And this is my second season now. started my second season in Scotland.
Right. It was Cartha that you were at last
Cartha
year,
in Glasgow last year, yes.
Right. And, well, a front row forward yourself, a hooker, I think played alongside 2 or 3 of the Welsh front row legends.
Well, I was the first coach I had at Pontypool was Bobby Windsor. Some of the listeners might remember him, as a Lion. But I was fortunate enough then as well to play with Graham Price, when he was coming to the end of his career, to be fair to Graham, But it was a marvellous experience, and to have Graham Price on the tight head and Staff Jones, who was another a Lion on the Lions tour in the 80s on the loose head, it was a great learning curve for me.
Pretty good guys to play alongside.
Without a doubt.
Move from Cartha down to Kelso, and I imagine coaching in the Borders has been a long-term ambition of yours, is it?
Yeah, well, Borders rugby to me reminds me very much of South Wales rugby, a lot of local rivalry, inter-town rivalry, village rivalry as well, so I think it's terrific, and I think that's the strength of rugby, do you know what I mean, and the grassroots of rugby. That you've got this such competition and rivalry between the local areas. I think that's wonderful.
Now, you're saying you got into coaching when you were over in Ireland,
That's
so
right.
No doubt sort of developed your coaching philosophy. Where do you come from on that?
Well, I try to base my game around, as much as anything, Bruce, I'm a keen man, for the basics, first and foremost, and I think that the set piece is vital, scrum and line out especially. That's the platform for your game, and to my way of thinking, if we haven't got scrum and line out, primary possession, I always think you're going to be up against it.
Yeah, and I guess getting a team to gel is always difficult as well. When you're bringing new coaching ideas in, and you've got a few new faces in the squad.
We got 5 or 6 new faces, Bruce, and obviously they are new to Kelso, and and they're all new to me, and obviously trying to get my ideas over and trying to find a bit of common ground really with my philosophies, and to be fair, the way the players want to play as well. I think it's vital that we listen to those as well, to see where they're coming from.
A test of your memory with new faces, new players. Who have you brought in?
For sure.
Who have you brought in?
There's a couple of boys down there, David Lowry and Ali Marsh and Lewis Mallon from down in Hawick, and of course Richie Minto is down from Watsonians last year. So, there's a few new lads there with a lot of experience, so hopefully they can provide a little bit of backbone for the side as well.
Yep, and Richie, of course, the captain as well.
The captain of Kelso this year, yes.
So, happy with your response for the guys, but maybe not so happy with your first result up in Hamilton.
No, you can say that again, Bruce. No, that was very, very disappointing, to be fair, And I think in hindsight, the players realised, how disappointed I was, and they were disappointed as well, to be fair, But at the end of the day, Bruce, on the day we only had ourselves to blame. We didn't get out of the blocks. All the things we said we'd do, hit the ground running, we just didn't do. They got hold of the ball early, and really they built so much pressure. And once you get on that roll, it's very difficult to stop. And to be honest, our defence didn't do us no favours either.
No, you can say that again,
can't you?
And I suppose it was a bit of a shock because we played a couple of warm-up games before that and played Gala the week before, of course, Premier 1, and actually stacked up pretty well against them.
Yeah, I thought, when we played Gala there, obviously we went in with the idea of probably giving, say, 26, 28 players a chance. We picked we thought would be a fairly strong outfit from the start, and I thought for the first half an hour, I thought we fronted up very well, to be fair. Perhaps we made too many changes at once, we lost a little bit of momentum, and then, we made changes then for the last 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, and I thought we finished well again. And after that last week, and after that against Gala last week, that was the disappointment for last week then.
But positives to be.
Yes, very much so, The players seem up in training this week. Home game now tomorrow. Watsonians, so hopefully, it's a test of character for us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Watsonians. What different challenge are they going to pose, do you think?
Well, from what I can gather, I think they played Selkirk last week, and from what I can gather, I think they got a fairly big pack anyway, do you know what I mean? So, and a good driving line out, so obviously they'll cause us problems and ask questions there, how we defend those type of things, But, look, it's a challenge that the Kelso players should be rubbing their hands at now and getting the show back on the road, as they say.
I mean, it's well known Kelso have lost their early season games. It's gone from sort of 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 in the last few seasons. But it's important not to hit the panic button after one game.
Hey, one game, no, it's not, But you'd like to hit the ground running, you know what I mean? So, a couple of wins early doors would take a little bit of pressure off us, especially now, Bruce, as you know. Well talked about the restructure of the leagues. The pressure's on every coach in Prem 2.
Absolutely. I mean, the goal, obviously, though, to get in one of those top 4 places.
Without doubt, and that's what presidents of clubs and committees are harping on about now anyway, so...
It'd be nice to get a big crowd for your first home game as well.
It'd be terrific, you know, first home game. Hopefully the weather will be good as well, you know, and just give the lads a bit of a G up there, you know what I mean, to see that the club and the town is behind them, you know. So hopefully we'll have a good crowd here tomorrow.